And we're back with episode 3. This is technically part 2 of episode 2, so I guess it counts. I just got back from my run a little while ago. It's cold outside. Anyways, episode 3 is interesting. It's interesting because all 4 heroes are not only in the same episode, but they're all at one point talking to one another at the same time. So, Ruby and John, they head to the orientation, and we see the dean from before, the one that let Ruby into the school, and something about him is off, clearly. He goes on saying, "I see wasted potential." I'm just like, oh, jeez. We also meet Eris again, and Ruby tries to make amends with her, but it doesn't really work, and yeah, it doesn't really work too well. And we also meet the black chick again, Blake. And we also learn other things, that Ruby's not very good at making friends. She made the one friend, John, but and she also made one enemy. So she says, like, oh, man, that's at 0, technically. Then she starts talking to Blake. She's the black chick. She's, like, reading a book. Yang just says, "Here, go talk to her. Try to make friends." And at first, it doesn't really go very well. And then Ruby starts asking, "Hey, what's the book you're reading exactly?" And then they sort of like hit it off from there. Ruby goes on about her motivation, saying, she loved reading books. She loved it when Yang read books to her. She loved hearing stories of enchantresses, monsters, enchantresses slaying monsters, all that like good stuff. She says, "Oh, that serves as her motivation." And Blake says, "Yeah, that's great. But the world ain't like the fairy tales. But we'll see. It's good. It's good that we got sort of like this motivation behind her. So it's also nice. And this is the bit where all 4 of them are in the same vicinity, because after Blake and Ruby, they start talking. Yang decides to give Ruby a bit of a hug, and Ruby proceeds with a very nice fist to the face. Just, I was like, oh, ow. And then it becomes a sort of cartoony, anime-ish fight. And then Eris comes in, and they all start arguing, and then Blake just blows out the candle. She blows out the candle, and yeah, it's the first time all 4 of them are in the same vicinity of one another, which I thought was unique. We also see they all sleep within all all the students, male, female. They all sleep within one giant room, basically, in sleeping bags. And Yang makes a joke saying "Ooh, look at all the boys," and then we see John, the blonde guy with the sword and shield, and he's wearing like a onesie or something, an adult-sized onesie. I thought that was cute. John also made a good joke. It's like, oh, how am I going to find another quirky girl to woo or whatever? And then just behind him is some chick. Doesn't really have lines, but you can tell she's going to be important because she's the only one that's animated. Yeah, go back to what I said in episode 2. Yeah, look, I get, it's expensive to animate each individual, extra and whatnot. But really, it just kind of makes it obvious as to who's important and who's not, when it's just like, hey, that person's in color. So I like where this is going. All 4 of them have met at this point. They're not exactly all friends, but it's the start of something, that's for sure. And I'm curious where this is going to go. I kind of hope Ruby gets with this John guy. That should be interesting. And whatnot. But yeah, nothing much else to say. It's just a good 3rd episode. It's I like that it's not just hitting you right away with what the whole grand story is. No, it's kind of gonna sort of ease us into it. I'm just trying to think of any comparison to compare it with, but I can't really think of any at the moment. I mean, the only thing I can really think of is Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, but I really don't want to compare Yu-Gi-Oh! GX to this, or compare this to Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, vice versa. So, yeah. But that's all I have to say. It's an enjoyable episode, some great character moments, and also like this, Ruby's writing to her old school, and because she misses all her friends, obviously. And yeah, I just thought that was a nice little touch. Hopefully that's just not like, one thing and then it's not there anymore. I hope that she continues to write to her old friends. It would have been nice if we got to see them, but at the same time, you could tell the idea and the emotion's still there, so that's all good. Yeah, so let's just count the characters. We got Yang, who's the happy-go-lucky type. We got Ruby, who's the sort of like the shy hero type. We got Eris, who's the sort of bitchy, who's the annoying naggy bitch type. And then we got Blake, who's the like sort of like gloomy artistic type. Okay, we got the four character types for anime or whatever you want to call it. But that's all I really have to say. I think it's an enjoyable episode, and I can't wait to see the next episode. So, see you later.